Every man feels it, that quiet war inside. The battle between what he wants to do and what he knows he must do. It starts small, a skipped workout, a broken promise, a lie you tell yourself to stay comfortable. But weakness is a seed, and if you water it with excuses, it becomes a chain. You stop ruling your life and your impulses start ruling you. That's the real slavery Epictetus spoke of, not the chains of another man, but the invisible leash of your own desires. When anger dictates your response, when fear decides your path, when comfort keeps you paralyzed, you are not free. And deep down, you know it. You feel the weight every time you avoid the hard thing. You feel the decay every time you surrender to distraction. But there's a cure, not a soft one, not a quick one, a stoic one. A cure forged in self-control, cold discipline, and ruthless honesty. It begins the moment you stop saying, "I can't," and start saying, "I won't." Because mastery isn't about power over others. It's about dominion over yourself. Finally, stop being ruled. There was a man once, not weak, not foolish, just drifting. He woke every morning with the same quiet promise. Tomorrow, I'll change. Tomorrow he'd wake early. Tomorrow he'd face his fears. Tomorrow he'd stop wasting time. But tomorrow never came. Every night, he felt the same shame burn behind his chest. That sick realization that he'd betrayed himself again. It wasn't the world holding him back. It was his own comfort, his own mind whispering, "Later." He told himself he was tired, overwhelmed, unlucky. But the truth was simpler. He had surrendered. Not to a tyrant or a boss, but to the soft, invisible master called impulse. He scrolled when he should have focused. He talked about goals instead of pursuing them. He blamed the world instead of conquering his own weakness. One night, he stood in the mirror and didn't recognize what stared back. He had comfort, he had safety, but he had no power. That's when it hit him. The brutal clarity the Stoics spoke of. Freedom wasn't about having choices. It was about the strength to choose correctly when every instinct screamed otherwise. So he stopped chasing motivation. He stopped waiting for the right time. He started making himself do the hard thing, especially when he didn't feel like it. And slowly, the fog lifted. The man who once avoided pain began to use it. The man who once served his impulses began to command them. He learned what few men ever do, that the will, once tempered in discipline, becomes unbreakable steel. Epictetus said, "No man is free who is not master of himself." And that is the foundation of the Stoic cure. The idea that freedom is not a political condition, but a psychological one. You can have every opportunity, every comfort, every distraction, and still live as a slave if you cannot command your own thoughts. Weakness of will isn't born from external hardship. It's born from the quiet rot of indulgence, when you obey every emotion, every craving, every fear as if it were law. The Stoics believed that the will, your reasoned choice, is the only thing that truly belongs to you. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength. Everything else, wealth, praise, love, status, lies outside your control." But mastery begins when you stop chasing control over the external and start building dominion over the internal. Seneca warned that indulgence breeds dependency. He said, "It is not the man who has too little, but the man who craves more, that is poor." The modern world calls this ambition, but Stoicism calls it slavery, to pleasure, to approval, to endless need. Weakness of will isn't a moral failure. It's a misalignment of power. When desire leads and reason follows, chaos rules. But when reason leads, when you act by principle, not impulse, every decision becomes an act of freedom. Epictetus taught that self-mastery is trained, not gifted. He said, "Difficulties show what men are. Pain, temptation, and frustration aren't enemies, they're teachers. Each one gives you a chance to practice control. Every urge resisted is a small act of liberation. Every discomfort endured is a victory over chaos." This is why the Stoics didn't run from hardship. They sought it. They knew that luxury softens the will and struggle sharpens it. To them, the battlefield of the soul wasn't external. It was the moment between impulse and choice. That heartbeat where you decide, do I obey my emotions or do I command them? Modern men crave freedom but avoid discipline, not realizing they're the same thing. Freedom without discipline becomes decay. Discipline without purpose becomes tyranny. But when discipline serves wisdom, the will becomes unbreakable. To be stoic is not to be emotionless, it's to be unmoved by the storm. It's the calm hand on the sword, the still mind in the fire. True mastery is when no mood, no fear, no temptation can sway your direction. The Stoics knew, a man who rules himself needs no ruler. Stop being soft with yourself. Every time you obey your impulses, you train your mind to kneel. Every time you delay action, you give weakness another victory. You say you want freedom? Then earn it by learning to command yourself. Here are 5 Stoic tactics to rebuild that inner dominion: cold, clear, and unforgiving. 1. Delay your obedience. When desire hits, the urge to eat, to check your phone, to speak out of anger, wait. Don't obey it instantly. Count to 10. Breathe. Watch the emotion burn and fade. Epictetus taught, "No man is free who is not master of himself." Freedom begins the moment you can say no to yourself and mean it. This isn't suppression, it's control. Every delayed impulse strengthens the chain between thought and action. 2. Do something difficult, daily. Weakness hates discomfort, so you must train in it. Cold showers, fasting, silence, early rising. These aren't trends, they're weapons. Seneca wrote, "Set aside a certain number of days during which you shall be content with the scantiest fare and with rough clothing, saying to yourself, 'Is this the condition I feared?'" Discipline becomes effortless when suffering is familiar. Do something hard every day, not to punish yourself, but to remind yourself you're still in command. 3. Speak less, observe more. The weak man reacts, the strong man reads. Control your tongue, especially when anger tempts you to strike. Marcus Aurelius said, "You always own the option of having no opinion." Power hides in restraint. Silence is the armor of the disciplined. Learn to pause, to let others reveal themselves while you remain unmoved. 4. Cut the noise. Modern life feeds you distraction like poison disguised as pleasure. You scroll, you compare, you consume. All of it drains willpower. Stop letting algorithms rule your focus. Carve out solitude, 30 minutes a day where nothing pulls your attention. No phone, no talk, just you, your breath, and your thoughts. That silence? That's where clarity lives. The Stoics trained their minds through reflection, not reaction. Do the same. 5. Confront yourself, without excuses. Each night review your actions. Be your own judge, your own executioner, your own redeemer. Marcus Aurelius did this nightly. He wrote, "At dawn, when you have trouble getting out of bed, tell yourself, 'I am rising to do the work of a human being.' Ask yourself, 'Where did I falter? Where did I obey comfort instead of conviction?' Then fix it, quietly, relentlessly, without applause. Freedom isn't a feeling, it's a discipline. And discipline isn't punishment, it's self-respect made visible." The Stoic way is not for everyone. It's for those tired of being ruled, not by tyrants, but by their own weakness. Every man fights a private war, not on battlefields, but in the quiet hours when no one is watching. That's where the real test happens. Not when you're praised, but when you're tempted. Not when you're seen, but when you're alone. This is where weakness is born, and where power can be reborn. The Stoics understood what the modern world forgets. Freedom is not comfort. It is the ability to look at your desires and deny them, to feel the pull and still stand firm. Epictetus lived as a slave, yet was freer than most kings, because he had conquered the only thing that mattered, his will. And until you do the same, you'll remain in chains, not of iron, but of emotion, pleasure, and fear. So here's your challenge. Tonight, don't scroll. Don't escape. Don't chase noise. Sit with yourself. Feel that discomfort, the itch to distract, the urge to flee, and do nothing. That silence is your training ground. Endure it. Command it. Rule it. If you can master that, you can master anything. This is the path of the Stoic. Cold, clear, unflinching. A life not ruled by impulse but by principle. A life where willpower becomes law, so stop being ruled. Forge your mind into steel. And when the world tests you, smile. Because now you know the truth. The strongest man isn't the one who conquers others. It's the one who conquers himself. If this message hit you, share it. Comment below the one battle you're fighting within. And subscribe to Timeless Stoic Mind, where we don't chase comfort, we build power.